Peterson.
And I'm Jack Hinkle.
Welcome back to Chops Podcast, where we talk about best practices of teaching, knowing your content, and knowing your students. Welcome back, Jack.
Thanks, man.
It's a Monday.
It is. We had our first competition this weekend.
Woo-hoo.
Made it out alive. Everybody's okay. It's a good time. It was cold.
It was actually chilly. It was.
Or a sweater.
Yeah, I know.
That was weird. That's not different.
Weird.
That's weird.
It was, we got home late, and it was like 50-some degrees.
Yes.
So all those people in Texas, we were like, yeah, it was cold.
Yes. And yesterday was a nice day, though.
It
Very
was.
breezy. And then we came back today. We're back at it.
Okay, so we're going to talk about something, but I don't know if I can reference a movie. Am I allowed to do that? Copyright?
Like copyright laws? Dude, if someone wants to like give us a cease and desist, I'd welcome that. Let's go.
So Inside Out 2, summer blockbuster, came out early summer, and it follows the path of the growing up of a young girl who goes into adolescence or puberty, and so her emotions become, all the characters are the emotions in her brain, right? So the crossing the threshold to adolescence, things become a lot different, right? And the main emotion that makes a presence is anxiety. And it's like this crazy kind of alien, this wacko hair kind of looking spaz character that's, I think joy, the emotion says, I keep her safe from what's there. And anxiety, something like that. And anxiety says, well, I keep her safe from what might be there. So Anxieteaching.
Anxieteaching.
So
you ever felt anxious when you've been teaching?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, me too.
A lot.
The listeners are probably going, yeah.
Yeah, I would think so. Because I think anxiety is you're experiencing one reality, but you're experiencing one reality, but existing in another one.
Ooh. Experiencing one reality, but existing in another one.
Or vice versa, right?
Yeah.
So
that's true.
So it's basically not present behavior.
Not present behavior.
Okay. And that's a catchword, right? Be present.
It's your catchword. You've been using that a lot this summer.
That's true.
Be present.
Be present, like be here, but then also be here, right?
Yep.
And be aware of that. But then anxiety is like living somewhere else in your mind.
Right. And we were just talking before we pressed record that sometimes if you, the teacher, are in, and this isn't necessarily just anxiety, but just in a different emotional state than your like equilibrium, sometimes the temperature that the classroom will give you can be masked by that emotional state.
Yes.
For example, if you come in tired to work, which I'm imagining a lot of teachers feel tired and really work to push past that. If you feel tired when you're at work teaching, your class may seem more tired because you are tired. And sometimes you can lose sight of that, especially when you I think tired's a good one because I think a lot of times, I know you do this a lot, like if you're tired or if I'm tired, we get kind of spastic hyper.
Yes.
Because we're trying to push past it and we kind of lose, and that makes us more tired on the inside.
You kind of get wild, yes.
And then you try and get your kids back with you, and that's kind of the tool that I've got in my toolbox is to kind of just keep pushing past that.
Right.
But sometimes it really changes how I can interpret what's going on around me based on the kids, and then sometimes it might not be the reality that I see. So sometimes I might think my kids are tired, but they're kind of normal, and because my perception has changed, I change how I treat them based on my perception, not on the reality.
Yes.
Right. And I think the anxiety thing, anxieteaching, that's real because any level of anxiousness can change how you teach.
Yes.
And it could be a very small scale thing where you're you have an observation, right? That's like a perfect example. Like you have a principal in your room.
Oh, that kind of observation, yes.
And suddenly you're anxious because you know that they're watching you and that you want to do really well, but then you change who you are because of how you feel, right? And that can go all the way to the other side of the spectrum from like some serious things that you may have going on in your life that change how you teach or change how you act in front of the kids. And it works that way too.
Yes.
So Steve did just show me the clip from Inside Out 2.
Where she has an anxiety attack.
And she's playing hockey, right, in the
Right.
movie, and she just is yard sailing everything.
Yeah, she's just blowing everything up, right? And she's I can do better, and she's just like ends up hurting people and messing up.
I think that is like so powerful that the fact is it's based in I can do better.
Yes.
Because sometimes when you get into those places, you become your own worst enemy.
Right.
And you're trying so hard, and suddenly the trying hard is the thing that's pulling you back.
Right. And then at one point, I think it's Joy, the calm character, says to Anxiety, says to her, you have to let her go. Anxiety, you have to let her go. Right? You can't just have like a stranglehold on her. Well, if you could tell someone how to
Yeah, I was
do
just going to say, that
was
sounds easy.
Well, people go to therapy for weeks and months and years, and they take medications to help their brain chemistry process that and do all kinds of things like exercise and breathing and stretching and all this kind of stuff. And that's easier said than done.
Yeah, very true.
Right?
Very true.
Which makes it interesting telling a student that's feeling anxious, say, just relax. Everything's going to be fine. Meanwhile, up in Mr. Peterson's balcony, there's the Twister movie is going on.
Dude, that's like saying calm down. Those are fighting words, man. Just calm down. Calm down.
Yeah, those are.
You can't say that.
That's like come at me.
Come at me. Just, calm down. Oh, what? You can't calm down?
Yeah.
If I could calm down, I'd calm down, but I can't calm down?
Exactly. It's like, don't be hungry. What?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, don't think about pink elephants. Right.
Boom, roasted. Got it.
That is insane. So are we okay? Is this anxiety teaching? Are we talking to teachers? Are we talking to students? Are we talking to both? Yes, all at the same time.
Well, I got to think since we're talking mostly to teachers, because I think kids as much don't listen to it now, because it's kind of over.
Yeah,
I mean,
the fad's over.
The fad's over. You know, they know we do it. They watch the reels and stuff. But students are still going through. Will always go through. And humans will always go through anxiety.
Always.
And it seems like we've had some episodes on that.
From the student side
perspective.
Sure.
Right.
Yes. Now, for the teacher side, disclaimer: I'm not claiming to know everything about how to work through that stuff while teaching. I do not claim to know, but I can offer. What can I offer? What can you offer? What do you got? Just like how I just gave that one to you.
Yeah, you were gonna crack
Take
the
it,
egg and then you just put it on my plate.
I just put it on your forehead, just
smacked
right there.
Okay, what was the question?
Okay, you were talking about the living in one reality but experiencing another.
Yeah.
Go into that one.
Well, I think it's easy to go in some ways as a teacher. Easy. It's simple, not easy. Doesn't mean it's enjoyable. It's simple. To go, just keep going.
Okay.
But sometimes when I feel anxious or I feel clouded in my mind, it's hard to keep going with a certain sense of authenticity. And so then I just have to keep going. I just have to keep the truck moving down the road. I just got to keep going. So, and it's not like the easiest. It would not be. So it's like a dual, conversation. Just like got to keep going, and it's like more pedestrian, right?
Okay.
Which is like absent of me being. It's me being absent from the rehearsal.
And that's bad.
That's bad. Because then you have some bot up there that looks like Steve Peterson, but is not Steve Peterson.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good way to put it. Being absent.
I can make the train go, but when the train gets to the destination, I'm not in the car. I'm back at the depot doing Sudoku or something.
Well,
right?
and I think too, I think a lot of adults, if not every adult, has experienced that feeling in some way.
Yes.
I think a lot of adults are good at hiding that feeling with whatever they do physically. I think kids are still working how to do that.
Yeah.
You know? And
Kids are more honest,
yeah.
more earnest. Well, not
It's
more
just
honest
you
because they don't have the coping mechanism or the masking.
It's face
masking.
value.
Right,
what
right.
you see is what you get.
But that's kind of their job.
Right,
That's
and
where
that's
they
okay.
are developmentally.
Now, for us, I like to think of that like the anxious feeling as gasoline. It doesn't matter what my vehicle is at that moment, but whatever the vehicle is, if there's like anxiousness, anxiety, it gets added to that vehicle, and suddenly this thing feels really bad and scary.
Yep.
Even though it's not true and has nothing to do with it.
Okay.
So, if you're working on something with the kids and it's maybe not going that well and you have some anxious feelings, that thing is going to seem like a dumpster fire. It's going to seem so much worse than it is because of this gasoline of anxiety that you may be feeling that may have to do with the school stuff. It may not have to do with the school stuff. And as you said, it's like you're living in one reality but experiencing another. And that developing like a filter for that, like I'm imagining like, if you're wearing like red glasses, everything looks red.
Yes.
That's kind of how the anxiety can manifest.
Yes.
Right. And trying to find a way to take off the glasses and look at the reality that's really in front of you.
Yeah.
That's hard. That's
right.
hard. But I think that's part of the game and finding ways to help yourself be present.
Well, yes, I've been to like many jazz workshops
Okay.
or jazz master classes or clinics with the kids, and I heard people say over and over, it's simple, but it's not easy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So playing the blues is simple. It's three chords and the truth.
3 chords and the truth, baby.
But it doesn't mean it's like easy to sound good playing the blues. But like what you need to do to be successful playing the blues is simple, but it's not necessarily easy. So to say like, just take off the red glasses, you're like, dude, I would. I'm tired of seeing red. Okay. I don't know.
Now, I think it's interesting as music teachers because we have all come from the performance aspect of things where we have had many times in our lives where we have been nervous.
You sounded like Kevin. You're like, we had many times when.
Did I say that for real?
Well,
that's pretty sad.
No, sorry.
Not anxious. It's just
I'm just not present. I'm not present right now. Sorry.
I be present soon.
Be present.
Okay. We are musicians and we have spent so many hours performing, right? And you can think back to tens of times that you're backstage or on the sideline or on the stage and the heart's beating fast because you're really nervous about something coming up.
Right.
Right. And Eric Whitacre, composer, I think his quote is, the nervousness never goes away. You just get really good at performing while being nervous.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
That I don't know if that still holds true about anxiety because those are like two different things. But, you as a performer have spent so many times performing under nerves that you do just get used to that feeling. So as musicians, do we have like a leg up? I mean, I don't know. I'm just trying to think of like performing aspects of other groups. I think everyone has to do public speaking at some point,
right.
But not nearly as often as, once a week or whatever we were doing at some point in our lives.
Well, it's like Grant said, Grant Longabaugh said, it doesn't get easier. You just have to do harder, better, right? So I wonder about that Eric Whitacre quote because, but you're a performer. You sing and play guitar and write some music, and you perform at some small, medium venues.
Yeah,
you don't get nervous. Do you?
I do.
You do?
I do. Yeah, but I figured out how to work past it because I put the songs that are the easiest and the least stressful at the very beginning when
So
I'm
you
the
kinda
most
get warmed
nervous.
up.
And then I put the stuff that's a little more intricate more toward the middle of the end. There was one gig this summer that I was not nervous for anything. And I think it was because I just did like a bunch in a row. And I was like, it was kind of like second nature at that point. I was just like, whatever, let's go. But I have one this Sunday. And I think I'm going to be nervous because it's been a while since I've done that.
Oh man.
But I still feel that sense of nerves. I don't know about you, but like before a concert band contest,
Yes.
I feel nervous. I don't as much before jazz band, but I think that's because I kind of count them off and then they go.
Yeah, it's like a different
It's
relationship.
a different vibe. But I still get nervous before concert band stuff, and
So
I get anxious
that's kind of
about it.
interesting. Like, maybe this is a bad comparison, but I play piano each week at church,
Yes, you do.
and it's a gospel feel, right?
Yeah,
So
secondary dominance all over the place.
A lot of them, and it's a
Tritone subs, baby. Sorry.
No,
Get my
that's
music
no,
theory
that's
geek
what I'm
on, dude.
doing. So people are like, well, that's not performing. You should be worshiping the Lord. It's like, well, so it is like two different things, right? It is like a worship space, obviously, but there is a performance aspect to it because I'm with a choir, and then there's like 100 people on my right that are sitting like really close to me.
Mhm.
And I help control the pace of the service. In this case, like a Catholic Mass. I am responsible for a lot of the pacing of it. But I've been playing in churches like since I was in my 20s, saxophone and or keyboard. I don't get nervous, but because I play a lot of the same songs each week, and there's like a similar vibe and in the similar keys, and it's not like people are like staring at me like what's going to happen, right?
Well, right.
So it's kind of like the vibe is right because it's not about the performance.
No, it's about the experience.
The
and the community.
Right. So maybe that's not a great example.
Well, but see, this made me think. I think nervousness and anxiety, those are similar feelings, but are still two separate entities. Because I think you know what to expect when you're nervous. But anxiety can change every day. And how that manifests to you can change every day. And you never know what to expect. And sometimes you are feeling really anxious before you even realize that it's like, quote, anxiety.
Yes.
And that can manifest itself in so many different ways while you're teaching. What do you got? He's pointing at
No,
the camera.
I just saying
this.
that like that. I think I told you that a week or two ago that was like a revelation to me.
What was?
Anxiety is separate from reality.
Yeah. Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I told you that.
Remember
like,
that conversation.
Like a separate track.
Yep. It's the red glasses, man.
But I mean that seems kind of like, well, duh. But I think that's like that's the puzzle. It's like, how do you get yourself out of that track if you're anxious about something? You can do stuff. You can breathe. You can stretch. You can run. You can ice your head down. Do all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And you can tell yourself, or you can calm down. You can meditate. You can pray. You can sing. You can sleep. You can do all this stuff. But to actually take yourself out of that position and go into another one is difficult to do that. I think it's really difficult.
I do too. Now, I did not do drum corps. You did not do drum corps unless you have some secret life I didn't know about. But you both.
I was asked to play cymbals in the Madison Scouts in '88.
You were not.
I was too.
What?
One of my they were just like, yeah, you should play cymbals, and that was the year they won.
You've never told me this. You were going to be on the Scout cymbal line?
Well, it was like one of the guys I went to school with, Dan Feeney, was the drum major at the Madison Scouts when they won in 1988.
Oh, and you could have been on the cymbal line?
And then one of my other friends, Dave, was a French horn player, and they got him on there on soprano bugle, and he marched 1 year and won a world championship.
And you would have been like ripped too, right? Those cymbals are heavy, dude.
I don't know though if I could have banged two pieces of brass together all summer.
That sounds unpleasant.
Okay, what were we talking about?
Well, I brought up the drum corps thing because I went to school with some dudes that marched, and some people that marched said that they loved the aspect that you did that and breathed that and only that. And I had like the opposite effect. I was like, I could not do that for a whole summer, like only drum corps and just the show over and over every day for 2 or 3 months. And they're like, no, it's perfect because you don't have to think about anything other than band.
Yeah.
It's like you have nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
You know you're going to eat every day. You know where you're sleeping every day. You know where you're showering every day. You have like one suitcase full of stuff, and you just do your thing. And I was thinking like how some people, that way of life is like anxiety releasing or expelling. Like you just get rid of that because you do the same thing. I was talking to family about band and how sometimes anyone can feel anxious during band. And my family was like, well, I could see how that would really add to it. And I said, sometimes it really takes it away because there's so much you have to focus on that you don't have time to let the other thoughts in. If I'm a kid and I'm like going, okay, 8 counts to set 47, okay, and I got to hit second position in plie and then lunge to the left on 2, 3, 4 while I'm doing this double tonguing excerpt, like I can't. There's no emotion. It's like so much flying through.
Tick, 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 get all that done.
I've been doing the kids' phrases this year. Okay, first of all, you keep up with kids slang, right? I think this is the year that I really feel like I'm getting older.
Okay, what are they saying?
Well, you know about the whole skibbity thing and whatever. But now there's more.
I said that last week and it got
the
really
kids lost
cringy.
their mind.
Yeah, I mean,
they're like, no, don't.
They're like so. I'm trying to figure out like how that hits. Like, what does that? I mean, I don't even care what it means, but it's just like they don't think it's funny. They're kind of like protecting you.
They're like, don't.
It's like dabbing or something.
Yeah. And then Brian Golden said like Sigma or something to them, and they lost it. But do they know that like their reactions and how we say it just make us want to say it more?
Yes.
Okay.
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. Like when a little kid says a bad word, if you say nothing, they'll probably never say it again. But if you give them all this attention, like don't say beep and beep beep beep, and they're like, you mean beep and beep beep? And I don't say that beep and beep 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 beep, right? Right?
Yeah, it's
right?
like
I mean, it's like
psychology 101, right?
Right. It's like don't do that. Why? Because I'll pay attention to you. Okay, and then I'm going to do it. Right? It's like bad behavior 101.
Steve Peterson, master teacher.
Beep,
okay.
Beep.
Okay. One of the phrases that they've used is lock in.
Yes.
Right? That's like not super new, but more new. And I've been telling that to the kids a lot. And I did that in warm up.
You did. You were locked in. I didn't want to jump into your lair because you were going. I was a madman. I was like screaming.
You were. I don't know what got into me, but they were kind of going and I was going and they were going because I was like, let's go. What did I say to the Woodwinds? I said, I don't even know if you know what you're doing, but you look so good and so like
you look so intentional and so intense that I'm buying it. I'll buy it.
I'm in. And they were laughing, but that was a fun warm up. That was a fun warm up. Okay. Anyway.
Okay. Wait. I gotta come true about this one. Okay. So. Okay. If you 2 things. Number 1, voice. Then number 2, clock. Okay. Voice. You understand that from listening to these little episodes that Jack's voice and Steve's voice are very different. And Jack has a more resonant, lower sitting voice, and I have a higher, more nasally, sounds like I've been smoking on 12 Camels a day, right? And when I try to shout, it's diminishing returns, right? You've heard me do that. Yeah. Right. I mean, it just my voice just goes out.
Okay.
So you have good projection or have trained yourself there.
Is this like a Pam, you're just better at making copies thing? Is that what this is turning into? Jack, you just have the better voice for doing warm-ups and visuals.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. Okay. Okay, so that was one.
Okay, confession number 1. Okay. What was the second thing?
Okay, the second thing is...
Clock.
So, since our staff looks different this year, and the division of tasks are different, somebody had to keep an eye on the clock during warm-up, right?
That's why you broke up with me?
No.
You had to make sure you got your 7 minutes on your... Bro, we all got phones and watches. We can set timers.
Am I done talking? No. All I did was did my introductory thank you. What are we at, a presidential debate? Okay, here we go.
I can't wait to hear what's next.
Okay. So it's not going to be that astounding. You're just going to go.
Never is.
Okay, it never is. Thank you. Okay, so I was sitting there between the two blocks, and I figured, well, I need to make sure that I'm cognizant of how much time is going on and when to get off the field and do all this kind of stuff, right? But I have this clock app, right?
Yeah, you do. You turn it sideways and it's digital numbers,
Oh,
right?
it's beautiful.
Sure.
But when I opened my clock app, I had 6 time zones with small clocks. I had like Beijing and New Delhi and London and Berlin, and it was like this 6 clocks, and it was like super small. They were like the size of dimes. And I was like looking at it, and I couldn't tell what time it was. And the only way I could tell what time it was to turn on my phone and turn it back on. And I even shut down my phone to try to reset this clock app. And I didn't know how to get out of this mode that I was in. So honestly, that's what I was doing for half of your warm-up when you're there with your big booming voice. I'm like going triple tap.
Wait, can we talk? Okay, does your phone do this when you look at it?
Yeah.
So when I look at my phone, it just says the time.
Right.
So you have an app to show you the time.
So it's this on all the time. So it's on all the time.
Your phone doesn't just do this all the time?
Oh, then it shuts down after 5 seconds.
Oh, mine doesn't. Mine screen's always on.
Oh, maybe I should do that. So I'm just telling you the life of a band director. Like,
And there's no Beijing. There's no New Delhi. It just shows me the weather. Shows me the chance of rain, which is 0, and it says 512.
so I felt like a chump because I'm there, and he's like with 80 kids, 70 kids, doing all this Corey stuff, and then my other 2 colleagues are behind me doing basics, and then the guards doing their stuff in the drum line, and I'm Steve Peterson sitting over here going ping, 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 and I was trying to. I kept on pulling out my paper to see what time we're supposed to go, and I was like looking at this, and I was like throwing one-liners over to Jack, and that's basically how my physical warm-up went. And if you're a student listening, that's the full disclosure. My voice was shot, and I could not get my clock to lock in. I could not clock in.
Clock in. Yeah. That is luscious. Thank you for telling us that.
That's where I was.
That is so good. Well, I thought, because normally I would do brass, and then you would lead the woodwinds, and I'd throw in my zingers, you throw in yours. So I was just like waiting for you, and you're like, just you go, you got it. I'm like, okay, let's go. It was fun. They had a good time. Okay, but here's what I did in warm up. I think did I have them raise their hand?
Huh?
Making
Yeah.
raindrop noises in the mic.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Did I have them raise their hand and say, I am locked in, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I, like, with the high brass and warm up, I just had them do this and then this at me, just like, I'm with you, you're with me.
Okay, good.
Because I feel like, my gosh, I would not be successful as a kid in those areas because there's just 12,000 things going on all at once in a music warm up, right? There's the pit playing, there's the guard spinning, there's every other section playing, and as soon as you try and say something, the drums start going, chung, 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 chung. And the sun was directly in my eyes.
Yeah.
I'm looking at my students over here, and all I see is the silhouette.
Yeah.
I have no idea if they're like looking at me or responding to me. Kids over here are also looking in the sun. So it's just kind of a hot mess right there. But I want them to at least acknowledge the fact that they need to lock in with me and tune out everything else. Because everyone is feeling so much. They're experiencing so much around them, and they just need to lock in.
Okay.
And I think the intent of saying that helps the actual process.
Okay.
There are some things that, the actions speak louder than words, obviously, but maybe in that moment the words can speak so the actions can speak too.
Okay.
But, whew. So is that anxiety teaching?
That was me in a different anxiety. That was like a
Anxiety
distracted
podcasting?
teaching. Distracted teaching.
Distracted teaching.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if that was anxiety for me at that time, but like I didn't want to get that wrong. The timing.
Oh,
of
that's not it.
things.
No, that was not
But-
it. No.
But it was just funny that I was like messing up on
That's
a
pretty good.
clock app. Then I was like, shit, I can't go. And they're like, what are you saying? They're like, Jack says 4 steps. Please stop.
No, I meant the episode in general. That's anxiety teaching, right?
Anxiety teaching. Yeah.
So if you got red glasses on,
Take them off.
it's that easy.
It's simple.
It's so easy.
It's simple.
It's simple. It's not easy.
It's not easy. It's hard to take off the glasses.
It's hard to even know you're wearing them. Right?
That's
Because sometimes you might not know. You just get angry.
okay.
And then
Here's
you're
my
like,
other
wait,
analogy.
if it smells like poo everywhere I go.
should probably get a new house. Okay, so some things.
You're drawing a circle on
I'm
the
drawing a
table.
circle. That this is what I feel like anxiety is sometimes. This is my analogy.
'Kay.
I feel like sometimes when I wake up, it's a carousel, like a merry-go-round.
Yeah.
And it's just spinning, and it's waiting just to pick up stuff that will stick to it. It doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
It's just like
Okay.
the anxiety car is going.
You're like, global warming. Presidential race.
Religion. Yeah.
School.
Yeah.
School.
Clarinet part,
School.
1 and
School.
2.
School.
Yeah.
School.
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 And then all of a sudden, the carousel is like loaded. It's like this big magnet that just sucks stuff. And I look at it, I'm just like, look at that carousel. It is just like full of stuff. Just full of stuff. And I didn't even do anything. It's just like get up in the morning, listen to the mockingbird, listen to the mockingbird. That's gosh. Stop the carousel. How? I can't stop the carousel. I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
Talking about that. Okay, so that's another one.
That's a perfect analogy. Because it doesn't matter what it picks up, because whatever it does is so real in that moment. It feels so real, even if it makes no sense.
Right. And then it's just
Right?
a general sense of anxiety.
Yes.
It's like having a stomach ache.
Yes.
It's just like this sense of like, what are you worried about? Oh, I don't know. I'll find something.
Yeah.
Give me a second.
Tomorrow night. Challenge?
Yeah. Challenge accepted. Presidential debate tomorrow, 8 p.m.
It's at 8.
Yeah.
I kind of want to watch it just for the entertainment
I want
value.
to. I have a meeting at 8 p.m., so I don't
You're
think
like really important.
Jack, I'm not important. Jack. Okay.
Okay, we got to go eat food, dude. Stir fry.
Okay.
What do you got? You're doing snacks.
No, I got
You have food?
spaghetti. Beef,
Oh, you had that big old thing.
Spaghetti, beef, black beans, and tomatoes with garlic. It's kind of like I don't know what it is. Kind of like
Adult stroganoff. That's what you said.
that's what it is.
Adult stroganoff.
It's cool. It's good. Okay.
Okay, we gotta
So
go
follow
teach
us
and
on Instagram
eat.
and
Guys,
TikTok.
give us a review. Sorry, I cut you off. Just rate us and review us. You love the TikTok. You do that. Just go on Apple and just click some stars. I don't care how many. Well, it should be 5, but I don't care how many it is.
Just click it.
Hook a
Just
brother
go.
up. Hook some brothers
Come
up.
on, man. Okay. So we'll catch you next week. For Steve Peterson,
Jack Nicole.
we're out of here.
See ya.